Hello and welcome to this Fusion Extreme Photoshop tip. Today we're going to talk about sharpening, a really neat method to sharpen using edge contrast. That sounds nice and fancy and confusing, but it's really a pretty great effect. Here's what we're going to do. Very first thing, we're going to bring up the layers palette. Now, if you don't have this little box here that says layers, if it's not up, what you're going to do, you're going to come up to Windows, and you're either going to hit F7 or go ahead and just click on layers. And up it comes right over here. Now, what we want to do is we want to create a background copy. On a PC you can hit Control J, you can just drag this down here, right onto there, and we've created a background copy. We want to create a background copy for a couple of reasons. Number one, you don't want to mess with the original image, and number two, you can fade the effect later, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to come back over to this image of Ashley, and what I want to do is I want to come to right up here at the top. I'm going to come to Filter, and under Filter I'm going to come down to Other and High Pass. When I click on High Pass, this little box comes up. Now, it looks a little bit it looks confusing. You look at this and you think, well, that doesn't look right. Well, you're right, it doesn't, but it will. And I'll show you what I mean. Now, what we're going to do is this little slide bar here is going to help us to either go really, really sharp, like extreme, way over sharp, or having no effect at all. Now, what we want to do is we want to come up to a point where a black area looks truly black. The blackest areas look really very close to truly black. So you're getting this type of sharpness here. Now I want to go a little further than that, right about here. Now every image is different. You're going to have to experiment with this, so that you can find how it works best for you. But every image is very, very different. Now, make sure your preview box here is clicked, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. So, if I click OK here, now right now it looks like I've completely messed up the image. I haven't. What you're going to do is you're going to come down here to this little dialog box here that says Normal. Now make sure you have the background copy layer selected, not the background layer. When you have the background copy layer selected, come up here to this dialog box and you can click Overlay. Robert Sanders has also talked about, when he does this tip, he's talked about using soft light or hard light. There are different options, and what I'll do is I'll show you the difference here between, this is hard light, it's really, really sharp and edgy. Soft light, and those are very subtle differences, and you'll have to play around with that and get yourself to where you're more comfortable with it. Now, what you can do is you can take your opacity and you can go back and forth with it to make it a little less sharp or a little more sharp, wherever you're more comfortable. That's why it's good to have a background image. But I'm going to say go right about here, and I think that image looks fantastic. If you look at it beforehand, you can see how much detail you lose. But with the edge contrast sharpening that you've done here, her eyes and everything look crystal clear. Everything looks really sharp. She's been dipped in honey. That honey looks very sharp. The little drops of honey on her look very sharp. I hope that translates to the web well. But anyway, the bottom line is you have a much sharper, much prettier image than the original. That's the original. It looked fine originally. It's kind of funny how you can look at an image and think it looks okay until you sharpen it and all of a sudden you say, hey, wait a minute, I wasn't very sharp at all. Anyway, that's our Photoshop tip for today. It's a quick, easy way to do some sharpening, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Come back for more Fusion Extreme Photoshop tips.